The title of my talk is Searching for Weakness. Okay, and it'll become evident why that's the title as I go through this today. In fact, here's the more descriptive agenda that I'm going to hit on. I'm going to update the business cycle, which I normally do, give you my take on that. You're probably a little concerned about where we are in the business cycle, so I'm going to take you along on that ride. Then I'm going to give you a just short story on the evaluation of the cannabis industry after 1 year in California, not very long. Then a summary of LA County really quickly, very brief. I'm going to spend most of my time on looking at the economy here. Okay, and then a lot of the details are, as Holly said, on the publication, which is on your thumb drive. Then I'm going to give the forecast, of course, but I'll run forecasts through the whole presentation, so it'll be become evident kind of where we're going with that. So let's get started with this, but first, let me ask you this. What day is it today? Right? Right? Today's Pi Day. Pi is equal to 3.14. What is pi? What is it? The circumference of a circle divided by the diameter. It's a ratio, right? So it's this divided by that, right? Okay, so that's the day today. There's the big long number. Just goes on and on and on forever. It goes on forever, right? And so the nerds have this saying that it's not really Pi Day because if it was, it would go on forever. Right? All right, it's an irrational number, which means it never repeats. Okay, it's the most famous irrational number of them all. It's a mathematician's dream day today. Right? It's also the nerdiest day of the year. Talk about that too. All right. So, what Netflix movie are you going to be watching tonight? Life of Pi. Or American Pie, if you're an old boomer. Right? Okay, now NASA uses only 15 digits of pi to calculate interplanetary travel, and only 39 digits are needed to estimate the circumference of the universe. All right? However, this physicist, Peter Trueb, calculated pi to 22.4 trillion digits just a year ago. Okay? Clearly, that's the nerdiest and most useless use of time in recorded history. Because there's no need. All right, the most common use of pi is to calculate the area of a circle. Right, and that is essentially pi r squared. That's the area of a circle. So we do. So pi r squared. And the nerds will say, pi r squared? But no, pies are round, cakes are square. It's a nerdy joke. What can you expect? Albert Einstein's birthday, did you know, serendipitously, is on March 14th. You can Google that and you can see. All right? And it's all well known that he always had pie instead of cake. I'm trying my best here. Okay, so how many chefs does it take to make a pie? Well, clearly, that's easy. 3.14159, right? 286. All right, so here's the last of my pie jokes. And you can only do this on Pi Day. You can only do this today. So suppose you're at dinner tonight. Well, no, at dinner tonight. This is what you need to do. And of course, dinner is going to be pizza, right? Now, say your bill is $26.86, something like that. Okay, so here it comes. What do? For the tip, write in pi, and then the total. All right. Happy Pi Day. All right, let's go on to more serious stuff. So what you need to know about the economy now, and I emphasize this is kind of the basic stuff that you need to know about where we are in the business cycle right now. Not only is the stock market, staging a comeback in 2019, but also longer term interest rates have declined again, and they actually seem to be continuing to decline. Right? Household wealth is at all-time record highs right now. And American worker sentiment, consumer confidence, consumer sentiment is near or at record highs still. I think I showed you this last year, continues to go higher and higher and higher. Labor markets are now beyond the full employment mark, beyond full employment. In fact, job openings now outnumber the number of people that are unemployed. So even if we could employ them all, we wouldn't still have enough to fill job openings. Okay, so here's what the job openings picture looks like through January in the US. This keeps going up and up and up. There's millions of open positions that are unfilled right now. All-time record highs. The unemployment rate has dipped way, way low, still remains low. It's at the lowest levels it's been since the late 1960s. 50 years. 50 years. That's where we are right now. This is unprecedented. Well, it's precedented, but for the last 50 years, it hasn't occurred. Okay? So this is the labor markets that we're in right now. Extremely tight. Here's job openings and unemployed residents for some of the principal areas of California. So here's the Bay Area, and the yellow is the job openings, and the blue is unemployed persons. And as you can see in the Bay Area, there are twice as many job openings as there are unemployed. So even if we could fill them all, that wouldn't be enough. We'd still need to import another 100,000 people in. That's the situation there. Orange County, San Diego County, they're about even. LA County, there's a lot of job openings, but there's a lot more unemployed. So that tends to suggest there's a big skills mismatch, right? Still, lots of job openings. So here's where they are, by the way, and this is just for the Bay Area. So Apple, Google, Facebook, Stanford, all down, it's all tech. Tech, everybody thought tech was slowing down. It's not. It's still a major engine of growth everywhere. And look at all the job openings that are piling up in those three counties. And those are some of the leading ones, all in tech. So here, I'm going to ask you a series of quizzes today, right? How do you handle your company's job openings? All right, so just answer, you can answer as many times as you want. Just raise your hand. I like to see the bulk. Or I like to see nothing. All right? So here, we don't have any job openings. Who's there? Just a couple of you. Anyone over here? Hardly any. We hardly have any job openings. Okay, we recruit new college graduates. Is that okay? A few of you, right? We raid. Oh, quick, take a picture. We use social media, all forms of social media to recruit. Who's there? You probably do many of these things, right? Right? Okay, we're hoping the next recession will eliminate our need to hire. People do. People are waiting for that, hoping that that will. Okay, and in fact, let's talk about that. That's kind of helping to motivate the title of my talk today. Okay, because that really it has seemed to be the answer for many people, searching for the next recession. All right, I showed you this last year. I've just updated it now. These are the economic expansions, the number of months of an economic expansion going back to the 40s. This is every one of the business cycles. We're right here. We're in month 116. The previous records were these two in the 60s and then in the 90s. So we're only 4 months away from establishing, or at least tying the record. Okay, that's where we are. So the expansion is getting very old. We can't have these sunny days forever, as this article shows, and which I've been using over and over again. There's definitely some evidence now that suggests, that as the expansion does get older, then we start to hit on the probability of recession much sooner. Duh. All right, so let me ask you, when is the next recession? When do you think the next recession is going to be? Okay, so just raise your hand when you see an answer that you like. Okay, by this summer. It says we'll be in recession by this summer. No one? Okay, well, you're awful optimistic. Okay, how about early 2020? About a year from now. One, couple of you, few of you, maybe 10%. No later than mid-2021, about, 2 years. No later. Okay, a lot more of you. Okay, so you all think that. You don't probably know what's going to get us into recession, but, whatever. May 17th, 2023. Anybody? Okay, one. You're probably going to be right. All right. The sooner the better. I need the labor market to soften up so I can fill all my vacant job openings. Yes. Again, a lot of people are waiting for that to occur. So all three of those may perhaps be correct. So let's look at what could possibly cause this recession. So I'm looking at these candidates. Tariff policy, the stock market collapse, and how that would then affect people's wealth perceptions, and they'd pull back on spending. The housing market, okay, the retail apocalypse, world economic growth rates, interest rate policy, and the yield curve spreads. And I want to hit on, in particular today, the housing market and yield curve. Some of these other things are probably not going to do it. I think tariff policy is going to soon go away or be reduced substantially. Okay, stock market, I don't know. That could also be an issue. And world economic growth, well, here is the GDP of China. And it's been sinking. It's still above 6%, allegedly. But nevertheless, that was for quarter four of 2018. It's very, very low. And we don't want China to slow down. China's our third largest, trading partner on the export side. So we don't want them to slow down, and they are. So we're watching all. The IMF has reduced world economic growth for the Eurozone, for Japan, India, China, a variety of places. This is not what we want. This could be a catalyst going forward. Okay. Now we're looking at consumers to see if they're worrying about anything. Consumer confidence is near all-time record highs. It did kind of back off a little bit, but it soared back up in February when the stock market started taking off again. So if consumers are going to worry, what are they going to worry about? What do consumers worry about? And what would then cause that index to go down and perhaps even feed into some slowing on the spending side? They worry certainly about their jobs, and that would bring that particular indicator down, not only today, but in 6 months from now. They worry about their wealth in the stock market and in their house. Okay, so any trauma to any of these areas is going to really cause consumers to worry and maybe pull back. So we're watching that very carefully too. And then they just simply worry about the fact that, hey, this expansion may be getting awfully old. We're due for a recession. So they're worrying about recession. In fact, use Google tools and then see how many times people have searched for the word recession. This is over the last 5 years. So just recently, they've been searching for recession a lot. So there's this expectation that is occurring among people that we haven't had a recession in so long. Maybe it's one of these self-fulfilling prophecies that will occur because we're worried about it right now. And then, of course, we get a lot of people talking about it. Here's Gavin Newsom in early January saying a recession is imminent and putting together the budget and the rainy day funds. Economists talk about recession all the time and when it's coming. Okay, but we don't see it yet in the indicators. The index of leading indicators may have plateaued a bit, but it's not going down. And this normally tells us this recession 6 to 9 months in advance, right? Not going down. Here's the probability of recession, a whole bunch of other indicators. And it's really not going up much. It's come up a little bit, but not much. We're still in safe grounds over the next 6 to 9 months. No recession likely to come based on all of our indicators. And then we look at the financial markets, which of course feed into some of these indicators themselves. This is the last 110 days of the Dow all the way up through the closing yesterday, right? We peaked October 3rd, set an all-time record. That was October 3rd right there. Then it took this big plunge, reached a low on December 24th, Christmas Eve. But since then, it's been moving up. Okay? A rally has essentially been in place. So that's not giving us any indication that consumers are worried, or investors for that matter. But the housing market is. So the housing market reached a peak in 2018 for the cycle, but it has been eroding away since. So what is the housing market telling us? Okay, here's home sales in California. Also peaked, well, didn't peak, but simply moved laterally like it has been, but it's been declining over the last 12 months. So that's the question, is the housing market sending us certain signals here? Sputtering in the nation in California in terms of sales. However, selling prices still seem to be rising in general, not in all markets. There are particular large metro areas where there's this divergence between income and price. Okay, but there's been some corrections as a result. I'll show you that. You can't really see this divergence at the national level. And this is the kind of divergence I'm talking about. If you look at household incomes and median home price, we're actually seeing income diverge from house price at the national level. So incomes are certainly being able to afford this nationally. Not in all markets is this occurring. Is inventory piling up? Not at the national level. This is data through January, so it's real fresh. Not a lot of homes just sitting out there unsold. Not in all markets. Some markets. Okay? Inventory is climbing as of January in California. So we are seeing that soften. Not a lot, but some. And home price appreciation, which has been running anywhere between 5 and 10% year over year every single month. 5 to 10% has now dipped way down on the general level in California. Okay, so again, the housing market definitely has softened. Those of you in residential real estate certainly could probably see this. You know, the Signal had a big thing about this and continues to, with sales declining and inventory rising in the Santa Clarita Valley last fall. There's existing home sales in the local market. Big decline, about 12% decline last year. And then I'm looking at prices. I'm really closely looking at this. Closing prices in the city of Santa Clarita don't see much decline through January. You know, and then I look in the greater area, which includes Valencia, Stevenson Ranch, Castilla, just the general valley area, and, well, maybe some softening, but not much. It's not really convincing yet, seeing home prices. When I take the ratio of the median home price to income, it's been rising in the Santa Clarita Valley. It's up at 6, so home prices are 6 times income. Right? But you can see they were much higher during the bubble. And these communities are much higher. Ventura is at 7, Orange County over 9, Santa Barbara 12, California is over 7. So it makes Santa Clarita Valley look very affordable relative to its income. And one of the reasons is its income is climbing so much. So the median household income in Santa Clarita is now over $100,000. That's the median. All right, and it's been rising quickly, so there can be a lot of assimilation of these housing prices. Only Santa Clara County and San Francisco County have higher household incomes in the state. That's where this community ranks. So if I'm interpreting the data, this is what I'm getting. I'm getting the fact that consumers are being inundated with thoughts of recession. They're thinking about it a lot more. And of course, they therefore then are remembering the bubble days of 26, 27 and growing a lot more reticent about buying because they believe that now is the peak. So there's some back off right now. So it's a psychological move. It's the expectations of recession that is softening the housing market. That may go away as we continue on this path and don't hit recession. If interest rates are no longer rising enough to increase the debt levels, the monthly debt levels, housing prices still are. Okay, so that's backing people off. Incomes are not rising enough in certain California markets because housing prices have risen so much faster. And when you hit this situation, these unsustainable affordability levels, then those normally lead to price adjustments, price corrections. And we're seeing that in the higher end markets right now. So here's 3 high-end markets, some of the higher-end markets: Westlake Village, Santa Barbara, San Jose. And they are correcting. Here's data through January. Santa Barbara's going down. San Jose, Westlake. So there are adjustments in prices that certainly are occurring in many higher-end markets in California. So I've developed a checklist of my concerns about housing to see if this is going to push us into the recession. And it's not likely to, the way things are mounting. But these are all the indicators. Sales falling, inventory rising. Here, let's go through. Sales are falling in the nation and here. Inventory rising, yes, in California and here. Prices in decline, some markets, but not widespread convincingly yet. Interest rates rising, no. Income growth less than price growth. Some markets, the higher end ones. And is there general concern? Well, it's growing, okay? People are getting concerned about it, but I'm not too concerned about it because we are seeing healthy adjustments in the market in response to these higher prices. So we'll see how this all works out going forward. Again, that's the housing market synopsis. What I'm concerned about is the Treasury spreads. Who looks at this? Any of you look at this? Okay. This is the weekly, going back 22 years or so, the 10-year Treasury bond minus the 3-month Treasury bill. Right? That's all that this is. They're calculated. And the last one is yesterday. All right. So when it inverts, which means that the 3-month yield is greater than the 10-year yield, meaning that long-term debt has a lower yield than short-term debt, something very unusual, okay, because people have less confidence in the short run. Then what happens here, it happened then, it happened in the 2000 and happening in 2006, 2007. What happens? Recessions follow. And this particular situation has occurred the last 7 consecutive times that the curve has inverted. So it's a pretty fail-safe indicator. And here's where we are. Here's where we are yesterday. Okay. Now, this could just be a fake out because, we had one here that was really close to zero, and we didn't have recession for over 3 years. But we're watching this real carefully. It may not go to zero, but again, this is something that we're concerned about for the long run, the credit spread. So watch that one if you're concerned as well. Let me talk a little bit about this. I don't want to talk a lot about it, but I do think that this is something that you should at least know about in California. So I have a brief story. The brief story is on the motivation for legalizing cannabis and what has happened in the first year results in California. Okay? So first, before I start that, let me get the sentiment of the room, your survey, your take on cannabis. Okay? So again, you can vote for any one of these that fit you. Ready? Okay. I use it routinely for recreation. Who says that? Who? Come on, sure. Come on. All right. That's the beauty of these surveys without the phone. All right. 2. I use it for medicinal purposes only. Come on. Boy, you guys are afraid. I've only tried it a few times and probably won't use it again. Who's there? Who's there? A couple of you. A couple of bold people. All right. I tried it, but I didn't inhale. Come on, Bill Clinton be proud of you. All right. I'd rather chase Ambien with tequila. Yep. I see some Ambien down there. You're just waiting for a cocktail hour. All right. What was the question? All right. So it looks like it's a pretty straight-laced audience. All right, good. Because we're just going to talk about the business end of this. So this is just what is going on business-wise and what has been the failure, essentially, of this industry in the first year. All right? So it's been estimated that there are 68,120 growers in California. That was a 2017 estimate. And they produced 13.5 million pounds in 2016, and it went up to 15 million pounds in 2017. Okay? That's from ERA Economics and Department of Food and Ag. Right? Cannabis price was $1,500 in 2017, $1,500 a pound. So if you do the math, you got the poundage, you got the price, right? That we're talking about a $22.5 billion industry just for this one crop, right? And based on the tax scheme that's been put in place in California, that would yield $7.5 billion of taxes to the state of California. General fund, right? And another $1.2 billion the way the cities have constructed their tax rates. So this is a big industry. It has the potential to be a big industry, right? So $7.5 billion. It's not the end-all to beat-all category of revenue generation for California. All right, personal incomes get us $97 billion, and sales taxes give us about $40 billion. But it's going to be competitive with these other categories, with motor vehicle fees, regulatory fees, et cetera. And it could make or break a deficit or surplus in a particular year. It could do that. So, I mean, it is a big revenue source, relatively big, compared to some of these other categories that we have that are bringing money into the state. All right? So that's what. So the state looks at this, saying, oh, "This is great. We need to, we need to tax it accordingly." But here's the reality of it. To date, cannabis cultivation permits have been issued to 3,203 growers in the state. Okay? And that represents only, less than 5% of all estimated growers. People are remaining underground, even a year later, more than a year later. Okay? The North Coastal counties are the principal location. And then LA, Monterey, Santa Barbara. In fact, here they are. So here's the principal places where we're seeing growers. These are individual growers. All right, so Humboldt, Mendocino, and Trinity. That's the Emerald Triangle. And then LA got in there because they're big. Right, and then Monterey, Santa Barbara. Now, here's 11 counties. Right, 11 counties. They represent 91% of all the growers. So it really isn't much being grown anywhere else. It's really relegated to 11 counties in California. It's not that widespread. This is the epicenter of all the cannabis growing. Right here. This is it. And you can see most of it is in the north part of the state. And here are the major cities. Salinas is number one. That's your pot city of the state. All right, now these are all permits. So it's not only just one growers, it's growers taking out multiple permits. So that's what this is for the cities. And then Buellton, Carperini, Lompoc, and Santa Barbara County are the next third, fourth, and fifth, or second, third, and fourth. That's where the permits are. Okay, Buellton, it used to be the pea soup capital. Now look at it. Then all the rest of the little cities in the north. Okay? So those are them. You can see things fall off big time. So again, cannabis growing, the permits for growing are very concentrated in a few counties, a few cities. You can see, because they've been outlawed in many of the other cities. All right, taxes. The tax. Does everybody understand the tax structure is in place? It's onerous. Cultivation tax on commercial harvests. 9.25 $9.25 on every ounce produced of bud. Okay, it's got to be buds. Leaves are a little bit less. Well, they're only $2.75. And then there's an excise tax on final products through the retail. And then there's the sales tax. There's already a sales tax, which is a minimum of 7.25%, and it can go all the way up to 10.5%. I think it's 10% in Santa Monica. Okay, so you got all these layers of taxes, right? And then you have the city taxes. Then on top of that, these are just the state. Then you got the city taxes, which can range anywhere from 5 to 15%. Right? So when you look at California and rank it with the other states that now enable cannabis, this is where California ranks. And this is without the cities. It's without the cities. So there's California. You put the cities on, they can easily eclipse Washington. That's the tax structure we have in place. Okay? There was this rush to tax this industry because it was supposed to be the golden goose. All right? Here's some of the city taxes. You can just see real quick. I'm not going to talk a lot about this, but anywhere, again, they're on sales. And King City only charges a $30,000 flat fee for anyone who wants to grow. The effective tax rate in California can be as high as 45%. All right? So that's one of the problems. There have been many problems. The other problems are, not only the tax rates are so high, but there's packaging regulations, which have increased the costs. And then there's testing regulations, which have increased the costs. And then credit card companies won't do businesses because it's considered a type 1 narcotic federally, right? And growers and retail operations can't open checking accounts at banks. So it's still largely a cash business, right? And cash breeds crime. So we get the image of, we get this image of this industry. Right? The Breaking Bad image. And it's largely this way. I mean, I joke about this, but here, this guy. It's Alan Knopf. He's a grower in San Diego. Okay? And here he is, paying his taxes with suitcases of cash at San Diego City Hall with 2 armed guards, and they happen to be highway patrolmen in, bulletproof vests and machine guns. And that's how he pays his taxes. This is real. He took a selfie here. Okay, so that's what the state of this industry is right now. Revenues, how much revenues are coming into the state? Well, here's the quarters. This was the first year it was legitimized, 2018. So that was all the revenues coming in from all the sources, from cultivation, excise tax, sales tax on pot, and so you can see it's kind of leveling off now. Reached a kind of a high there in the fourth quarter, right? So Jerry Brown, a year ago, and put it in the budget that we'd be at $643 million in the first year, and that went into the budget. Well, we fell way short of expectations, only 345. It's half that. It was half. Okay, there are 482 cities in California, and only 87 of them allow retail operations. They're banned everywhere else. They're banned here, right? That's only 18% of all cities. So it's another thing, is that you can't get access to it. You can't buy it, and therefore you can't pay the taxes. Another problem. Okay, here's where the retail permits are. All right, so LA, Long Beach, 106, and then the third one down is the San Fernando Valley, San Gabriel Valley. That has a lot, Coachella Valley. But these 10 cities here, or 10 regions essentially, account for nearly 60% of all the retail permits. There's none on the I-5 between the Bay Area and LA. None. And there's very few along the 101 corridor, along the Central Coast. It's basically in the big metro areas. Okay. And then the price. The price has fallen like a rock. 4 or 5 years ago, it was over $2,000 a pound, the spot price on cannabis. And now it's down to $11.05 as of this month. So it's more than halved, okay, which is dashing all the revenue expectations as well. But, the prices in the retail outlets are very high because of all the regulatory issues and the taxes. So evaluation in general, this is I think the last slide I have on it. It's been a very bumpy road. Fewer growers have emerged from the underground to become legalized. Okay. More regulations on products, all the testing has increased the costs, limited the regulated supply, pushed final product prices for the legal market way up. But the prices for the underground market have gone down. The taxes have also kept prices high. So the black market right now is flourishing, thriving. And, the revenues are just not coming into the state as they thought. So that's the status of cultivation. And so you're going to see change. You'll probably see some changes in the tax rates too, because they're just, again, so steep right now. Okay, enough of that. LA County, real quickly, and then I'll get into Santa Clarita Valley. The job market here has been epic in this county, and we're really not seeing much slowdown, because we're not seeing much slowdown to the principal engines of growth: entertainment and tourism, technology, and new development in LA County. All right? No signs of slowing, not here, not in the Bay Area. Still going crazy. All right? And real estate resources, the assets, are close to their best levels of utilization of the business cycle. Very tight utilization of office, industrial, retail spaces. Not much idle resources whatsoever in LA. Here's the development picture when you add up all the various markets together, investment in all new development. And 2018 is an all-time record high. All-time record high. Lots of apartments, lots of office going in. Even retail stuff's going in still. Okay? The overall evaluation is that the market is full with thousands of unfilled job openings. The building boom is well underway, and there's just no evidence of overbuilding because we don't have anything that's growing more vacant as a result of it. Existing home market is showing some softening. I talked about that earlier, but not that much. Inventory has gone up just a little bit in LA overall, and selling values have leveled off. But in general, this isn't an industry that we should be really concerned about in LA right now. There are adjustments being made. So there's not much evidence at all that the broader county economy is weakening at all at this point in time. Okay? Let's talk about Santa Clarita Valley. And I'm going to do this sort of in a different way so that you can participate, because I know how you love to do that. Okay, so how well do you know the Santa Clarita Valley economy? All right? So here, just to get this going, I'm going to ask you this one first. How well do you know the economy? So, A, or 1, like the back of my hand, I was born here. Who's in that camp? Okay, you weren't born here, but you know it like the back of your hand. Who's there? Come on, you guys. Is that why you're here? Okay, how about this one? Pretty well, and I've worked here 5 or more years. Okay, yeah, okay. That's more like it. Probably 30, maybe 40% of you. I just know the basics. Who's there? A few of you? What are you waiting for? I'm a newbie, so not much. Who's there? Nobody. So a lot of you are just unwilling to answer, just like you were unwilling to answer the pot questions. I've shopped at the town center. I've played at Sand Canyon. I've drunk beer at Wolf Creek, and I once went to Hurricane Harbor. What else is there to know? Who's in that camp? All right, the rest of you. That must be it. Right? What's there to know about the economy if you've done all that stuff? Okay, so here's the first real question. Is the local labor market growing faster than the U.S.? Who says? Okay. Right? You can vote a bunch of times here. Faster than the U.S. Is it? Yes? Okay. How about faster than California? Yes, okay. I think you're guessing. Faster than LA County? A little bit more hesitation. None of these. Okay, a couple of you said none of these, huh? Boy, that would be dismal. All right, so I'm going to give you one of these. It is growing faster than the U.S., but what about the other two? Okay, let's look. Okay, so here's job growth in California and LA going back 8 years, right? 8, 9 years. And then there is the valley. So it's been above that every single year, even most last year here, except for the 2016 right there. That was the only anomaly. But the area, it has been creating lots of employment opportunities because of, there hasn't been that much development up until, now. But nevertheless, it has created lots of new jobs, particularly in tech and hospitality and a variety of other industries here over the last several years. Okay, so this is very interesting to watch, and we're going to be monitoring this more as more of the housing starts coming in. What sector is creating the most jobs? What sector is creating the most jobs here? Okay, well here, let's go through this. Healthcare, who says that? A couple of you? Hardly anybody. Okay, you can try, vote again. Hotels and restaurants, the big one. Okay, no. Scientific and technical services. Okay, a lot more of you right there. Okay. Construction. Okay, a few of you, yeah. About even with scientific and tech. Magic Mountain. Come on, they're open 100 more days now. Wouldn't you have to hire a lot? It's construction. That's the answer. Here, look at this. Here, 2018. And this was also true in 2017. So this isn't some, spurious occurrence. So there's manufacturing, there's healthcare, there's restaurants and hotels. See, they're up there. And there's construction. Big increase. Big increase. Okay. What is now the leading engine of growth in Santa Clarita Valley? What's the leading engine of growth? Here, here, I'll put these all up and then we'll vote. Aerospace and defense, technology and digital media, new development, healthcare, or is it the Santa Clarita diet? Which you all faithfully watch. Which one? Aerospace and defense? Technology? Maybe. New development? Yes, that's it. That's it. New development. Hello, I gave you kind of the answer ahead of time. Okay, so here's all the non-residential space being built right now. It's sort of in graphical form, as you can see. We're at the highest level going all the way back to 2006. That's the state of new development that we're in, that the valley is in right now. That's what it looks like. It looks just like California and LA right now, except it's been a lot more dramatic. As you can see, principal projects, Needham Ranch is underway, IAC is underway, Logix is underway, the Innovation Park, that will be underway later this year, Vista Canyon's underway, and then we've got these hotels that are underway, the Spring Hill Residence Inn, Holiday Inn, Hampton Inn. Everything's underway, and we've got a little smaller hotel, Luxon, underway. Lots of stuff underway right now. Here, industrial lease rates. They've been rising slowly throughout the entire expansionary period. There they are. They're at the highest level now that they've ever been. But Antelope Valley is higher. San Fernando Valley is higher. Central LA is higher. East LA is higher. These are all CoStar rates that are like rates. Same definition. So it's a bargain here for industrial space. You're going to fill it very easily. Current status. Here's all the stuff that's in the queue, the development. Got 12 commercial and industrial projects under construction. 1.3 million square feet. That's a lot. Hotel projects, 3 for 517 rooms. Being graded, another one, 134 rooms. That's 650 rooms coming online. It's coming. Okay? Henry Mayo's building. And then housing projects, 11 of them. In those 11 projects, they're entitled for 3,666 units. Being graded another 2 projects, including Mission Village of Newhall Ranch. That accounts for more than 4,000 units. And then seeking approval, another 12 for 3,500 units. So that's all happening right now. That's the action. There's lots of action occurring right now in the valley, more so than there has been this entire cycle, although you wouldn't know it if you just looked at the housing permits, the authorizations. That's the whole housing production in the entire Santa Clarita Valley. Doesn't look good. But given everything that is occurring now, all the momentum and how that's all shifted and all the grading that's going on and all the housing projects that have now launched, this is what it's going to look like over the next few years. You're going to see this big surge of housing come online. And this is in Skyline. It's in Vista Canyon, Newhall Ranch, Aliento. Okay, those are the principal projects that are offering the significant units here that are coming online, underway. So how is the utilization of all the valley's real estate assets now? Okay, given all the development that's occurring. How is that going? That's the next question. So, first to answer. There's plenty of availability. Who says that? Everything. Talking everything. Plenty of availability. Who says that? Nobody? Okay. Never been more fully utilized. Never. Okay. Couple of you. All the recent development has increased vacancies. Is that true? Has it? No clue. How about another pie joke? Those pie jokes were duds. Here, never been more fully utilized. Not all together, not collectively. It's never been more fully utilized, and yet we're still building a lot, and yet we need to. Here's office vacancy rates. Santa Clarita Valley, CoStar rates. That's the rest of the regions of Los Angeles that are close by and adjacent, or Ventura County. Very competitive here. Can't build enough office space for that matter. Valley-wide office market, the industrial market's down to 5.3, and it has ticked up a little bit because of a lot of the new product. Valley-wide retail market's really low, lowest for the economic cycle. The apartment market, 4.1% vacancies. Extremely tight. Average rent is running at about, well, just under 4% and appreciation year over year. We're building apartments. That's really the question. Here's how Santa Clarita ranks with average apartment rent. We need apartments. Okay, here's where it ranks. It's between San Fernando Valley and Central LA rates. Apartment vacancy, pretty low. Hasn't been much lower than where it is now. We need more apartments, though. Here's the number of apartment unit completions in the Santa Clarita Valley over the past several years. There's been virtually nothing completed. Right? But we got a lot underway. We got 899 in the total development pipeline. 587 are in projects that are currently under construction. Most of those are in Vista Canyon, and then there's some across the street. Okay? But apartments, we're going to need more apartments going forward. Here's a question on location days. What's a location day for filming? I think, isn't that why we're shut out of the parking lot? Right? Because some crazy film is going on? What is it? Did anyone know? Santa Clarita Diet? A location day is like, if you have 100 crews and they work 5 days each on average during the year, that would be 500 location days during the year. Okay, so it's a crew times the number of days. A crew is on one project. So how many location days do we have a year here? Okay. You guys said you knew the economy. No, actually, you didn't. 75. We have 75. Who says that? Okay, 298. All right, 805. Who says that? Okay, a few of you right there. 1,370. Okay, a lot more of you. Pi r squared. Okay? What the heck's that? Depends on the size of the circle. It's 1370. That's what it's been consistently, sort of. It's been kind of average over the last 5 years. And so when you look at the film crew, the permits for video, TV, movies, commercials, photo shoots, music videos, stuff like that, it's consistently been over 550 the last 4 years. 550 of them issued. Okay, that's 46 on-location shoots per month. That's a lot. You've probably seen them many times, but that's how much activity is going on. It's a lot of activity. It's lots going on here. Here, what was not filmed here? What was not filmed here? Here, I'm going to give you, and you pick out the one that wasn't filmed. The Santa Clarita Diet. Hot Wives of Las Vegas. Okay. Titanic, Westworld, American Sniper, Iron Man 1, 2, and 3, American Horror. Those. The Hyundai elevator commercial from the Super Bowl. Remember that one? Okay. That saved the Super Bowl. So it was such a boring game. Okay, Pee Wee Herman's Big Holiday. Is that filmed here? A Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. Sharknado 3, Sharknado 4. Have you seen these? Have you seen those? Those are really cheesy movies, but actually they're kind of fun to watch. It's about this tornado full of sharks, and they eat people, and there's blood everywhere. Okay, so which one of these are not? There's not. All of them were filmed here. None. That's a trick question. They are all here. All of these filmed here. Okay? So the Santa Clarita Film Office is the one that facilitates all of the permits. And for the last 5 years, they've issued 2,718 permits, an average of 1,368 filming days a year, estimated 163 million in local spending, or 33 million per year. So this is a pretty good stimulus to the economy, because these crews spend a lot on food and catering and hotels and right on down the line. So, and when you look at all the hospitality kind of forces at work, here's attendance out at Magic Mountain. And I don't have the 2018 numbers yet because they're not being sort of estimated or released. But if you do some of the math and add in the extra 100 days now that they're open, then you get, oh, what happened there? Well, you get a big 20% increase, as this says. Had some drama to it, but the drama didn't make it. Hotel occupancies here have been above 80% the last 4 years on average. Hospitality has been big here, and that, of course, has driven tourism employment, which is at all-time record highs. One of the leading cluster groups here. So, catering to lots of visitors coming in, lots of business visitors, film crews, etc., is a big economic stimulus here, as well as development, as well as technology and manufacturing. Okay, let's talk about the forecast. So in general, for the U.S., we are in a 3-2-1 economy. 3-2-1. It's easy to remember. Okay, 3-2-1. So 3 was our 2018 GDP growth. Then it moves to 2 this year and then 1 in 2020. Okay, that's the consensus, more or less, of the forecast going forward. So we slow down, okay? We slow down, right? And when you're in a 3-2-1 economy, when you hit that 1%, then the risk of recession starts rising, because any little knee-jerk could kick you into recession. Something particularly that's unanticipated. May not, but you're much more at risk when we get to that level of growth, that low level of growth, which we haven't been at. So we're watching that very carefully. It's not going to happen this year, but we're looking at the risks that are occurring next year and any of the candidates for recession. Interest rates are going to rise this year, but probably level off in 2020. We're at 2.5 on the federal funds rate. Look for maybe 1 increase, maybe 2 at most by the Fed, although they're now on a more wait-and-see mode. Okay? Maybe just 1 more increase. That's probably what I would say, but we could get 2. Inflation has moderated significantly and will continue to, because you see housing prices level off. You also see some wage rates level off as the labor market starts to soften into next year. Okay, the housing market is not going to collapse, so don't worry about that. And the labor markets are going to remain extremely tight. These are the fastest growing jobs in the U.S. today. Highest growth rates. Okay, pick out your favorite one. Technology and anything STEM is very fast growing, particularly in California. That includes aerospace and defense. So I'm looking at aerospace and defense, particularly for this region. We've seen professional, technical, and scientific employment soar here. And it's been a big contributor to overall growth and vacancy of a lot of new space, as you know, with a lot of companies coming in or expanding for that matter. But I'm looking at the defense budget and for the base budget, and it's risen quite a bit the last couple of years. Okay, it's risen quite a bit. And so it's helped out a lot of areas that really rely on the defense budget. This is true of Eastern Kern County. Here, to some extent, there's places all over Los Angeles for that case. But, you know, in 2020, next year, we hit sequestration again, which is the budget caps, and much more scrupulous review of defense budgets. And so we probably won't see much increase next year in defense budgets, and they may actually go down in 2021. So that could provide a little bit of a weakening or slowing effect on defense-oriented communities. Okay, so just be wary of that. The regional outlook in general, all of the engines of growth are going to continue on, and particularly new development. Okay, we don't see any weakening there. A slowdown is forecast for the general economy, but you may not notice it much here because the development stimulus is just going to be too strong. Okay, you'll probably notice it a little bit more next year. So in general, it's an auspicious outlook for 2019 here. Okay, population, which is estimated at 284,000 valley-wide, is going to go over the 300,000 mark by 2023. And so within 5 years, that's where the valley will be with new development. And job creation, it will tick up a little bit next year as a lot of this development gets created and then occupied. We have it slowing a little bit and then ticking back up again as much more space and more residential structures get built with all the projects in the queue. So we don't really see much slowing in job creation. Santa Cruz Valley is destined here because of the development scenarios to really be one of the communities that may be exempt from any kind of significant recessionary weakness. But again, we'll be watching that very carefully. I think the development environment is going to help out a lot. Construction employment continues to rise in our forecast because of all the projects. So, real quickly, I'm almost done. Here was the actual indicators associated with these. And then our forecast, jobs will go up this year a little bit. Unemployment rate goes up a little bit too, not much, basically stays the same. Income growth is higher because you're going to have to offer higher to fill your positions, and you're going to have to recruit with higher salaries. Inflation rate goes down. New housing production goes up, but not substantially. That's saved for 2021, 22, 23. And existing home sales, they went down significantly last year. We don't really have them going down anymore. It's going to sustain those lower levels, maybe rise a little bit. But again, we don't think that there's a collapse imminent here at all. And median prices were up about 4% last year based on the indexes that we're looking at, maybe another 4%, 3 to 4, but taking out inflation, basically moving laterally and not a big hit to housing. So my final words will be similar, much of Southern California will be similar to 2018. But as you know, there are concerns rising with the economy. Everybody's Googling recession. Everybody's talking about it. But we're going to have another repeat of 2018 for the most part. So expect a boring economy. It'll be boring because there's not much change. Okay, no recession this year. You should start preparing for the risk of recession next year and the following. Look at your budgets, look at your staffing levels. Be careful with what you do. If you haven't changed your job yet, now is the time to do it. You need to do it in the next 12 months. Because the opportunities are endless. I've never seen a tighter job market. You have so much opportunity. I think I talked about this last year. Still true. The window is still open. Change your job. if you're not happy with it. Okay? So that's my final summary. So, boring economy ahead. Thank you. No time?
Thank you. Mark, I think I like a boring economy because the economy's been good, so sustaining that sounds like a really good plan for me. I want to thank Dr. Schniepp again. I want to thank our speakers. One more round of applause, and thank again to all of our sponsors. I want to give a quick shout out to members of the EDC team, Allison and Jennifer, who did the yeoman's work of putting this event together. In your name badge, you have a drink ticket. We have moved the reception because we're having winds, not least with sharks in it, fortunately, but we are having a lot of winds today, so we've moved the reception out here in the lobby in the Valencia Ballroom. Your drink ticket is in your name badge. Please join us. All of our speakers will be here during the reception. Thank you all for coming. Have a wonderful evening.